if you couldn't tell from the title, this is going to be my crazy, weird Tinder story. This was by no means the first date I had ever been on through there. It was probably either my second or my third date. I'm thinking second though. So I wasn't new to the experience, I guess you would say. This guy though, when I downloaded Tinder, I was so extremely overwhelmed. I know that sounds like really dumb and petty, but like the amount of people that were like trying to talk to me, I was just like, I'm not used to this at all. I don't really like it. I ended up communicating with a few of these people, and in the midst of it though, I had deleted it. So I want to say I only had it deleted for like a day, and then my mind was like, you know, you made a connection with a few of these people and you just kind of wiped them out of your life, which, I don't know, like it could go somewhere. I'm not saying it would, but there's potential. So I decided to re-download it, and I went and apologized to this one specific guy because I felt like we had sort of made a connection and he was really funny. Someone that has a great sense of humor is 9 out of 10 times gonna beat someone that's like even more attractive to them without the humor, because I am all about my Will Ferrell type humor and just being really sarcastic and funny. So I apologized to this guy, and he kind of like, this should have been my first red flag, because he was like, well, like I don't really understand why you would have done that without like telling me, and he kind of was upset, but at the same time, he was happy that I re-downloaded it, and I ended up giving him my number. I was like, fair warning, I could delete this again, so I will give you my number and we can communicate through texting, because I hate how Tinder says that, like, you're active when you are, because I feel like if any of my friends are on there, which I am Tinder friends with some of them, they will constantly see that I'm active and I will just look like a whore, which isn't the case. So, back to the story. I started texting this guy. So the next day after giving him my phone number, I was at the doctor and he was trying to call me and I wasn't answering because I was at the doctor, and he kept sending me texts like, you can't even pick up your phone. Again, should have been a red flag, but I was like, I'm at the doctor. Like, I'm here. I'm not going to answer my phone. Like, you can text me if you want something. And he said that a few different times, and finally I had finished my appointment and he had called me again. He kept calling me and I answered it, and we kind of went over like the fact that I'm not going to answer my phone when I'm out in appointments, because that's just, I feel like that's how normal people process, like in work. But to him, I guess it wasn't. But then we ended up having a really funny conversation on the phone. We talked for about half an hour, and I felt like comfortable with him because I heard his voice, like, it's him. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did not know it was him. And I was like, I guess that matches up. That's a dumb way to get catfished. No Snapchat on him. From now on, though, I always like Snapchat people, and I make sure they are who they say they are. Not that this is a catfish story. Back to my track. So we were on the phone and he was cracking out jokes. He mentioned a few times some coworkers and how much he hated them, and in my mind I'm like, I guess there's coworkers out there that you don't like, and I wasn't really thinking much of this, but I just wanted to throw that in there, that hating coworkers was a topic on the phone call. But at the end of it, he was like, you know, do you like have any plans tonight? And I was like, no, I'm probably gonna watch TV. And then he was like, well, I'm kind of asking me to hang out with me. And I was like, I paused, and I think I made some sort of weird comment, because I am the least adorable person when it comes to like dating and just being cute, because I am awkward. I make people feel uncomfortable. It's who I am. And I said something on the lines of, I suppose I'm not doing anything else, we can go ahead and hang out then. And the tone of it was just very, like, sure. Fast forward to the actual date. He asked me to get to his work right before they closed so I could meet one of his coworkers that he hated. We'll call her Pam. We'll call this guy Todd in case I ever mention it, because those aren't the real names, but Pam and Todd. And I was just like, okay, I guess so, that's fine. So I get there and I'm passing in as she's passing out, because he still has to close up and whatnot. And as soon as her back was turned, he gave me like this, that was Pam type of look, and like this little like death signal, and I was Nice to meet you. He was actually pretty attractive, even more attractive than his photos, which was a good thing. He was really tall, he was skinny. I didn't really like that part. He was really skinny. Not that that's something that I don't like, but he was extra skinny because he was really tall and lanky, but attractive. And he kept commenting about how pretty I looked and all that, and I hate when people call me pretty, like, excessively to where the point, it's like, I get it, you're trying to flatter me, but it's starting to do the opposite at this point. He closes up. We end up taking his car because I don't really know the area and he was just going to drive me home afterward, which was my thousandth mistake. I have so many learning curves from this date. Like, I am a pro now when it comes to knowing how to act in situations and whatever. Don't on the first date, or try not to have them in control is my number one tip for you. So we go to his house. Tip number 2, don't go to their house on the first date. But I wasn't thinking about it. Obviously, we're taking his dog to the park. We have to go to his house. So it made sense. We picked up the dog. I didn't go into it when we first got there. He brought her out. She was adorable. This like little puppy German shepherd and ridiculously cute. I was excited on that part. And that was actually a good portion of the date. So we went to the park and just hung out and played frisbee with her. He did kept putting his arm around my waist and just trying to touch my hands and stuff, and it felt like we were dating and it wasn't a good feeling, I guess I would say. So he was really touchy-feely. We ended up leaving because it was starting to get dark, and we went back to his house. Like I said, don't do that. I won't do that in the future. So we get back there and we put on a comedy movie. I loved that, perfect, whatever. And we just sit on the couch, and I'm sitting as far away from him as possible. He's on one end and I'm on the other, and it's a big sectional. And he kept saying you're so far away, and I was like, the dog's here, I can't move. And then the dog did move, and it was just us two on the couch, and he scooted towards me because, of course, I wasn't. And then he started getting closer and closer, and then he pulled me over on top of him. And I am so awkward and uncomfortable at this point. I'm just like, ugh. And he's, obviously trying to cuddle with me during the movie, and I just, turn to him, I don't cuddle. I'm, this isn't what I do. So we kind of pushed back for a little bit, and he started talking to me about how he hates another coworker named Lester. Now this is the real person's name. His name's Lester. I wasn't gonna change it. That's a creepy name. Sorry if any Lesters are watching. But he went on with it and kept telling me these stories, and he's like, my coworker and I, we sit around all day and think of all the ways that we could kill Lester and Pam. Lester and Pam are the people they hate. I am not joking to you. He went on and on about wanting to murder these two people. And it started, what I thought was a joke ended up becoming way more serious than I thought it was. He did not like these people. But he started using Lester in, a past tense type of way. I hated Lester type of thing, and he was the worst, was being the key word there, and I was finally where is Lester? And it's oh yeah, he quit a few weeks ago. And in my mind, I'm you mean you murdered him a few weeks ago? I was so concerned. I am still very concerned about this Lester guy. I actually, once this is over, will go check and make sure that there's not a missing persons report for him, because I am kind of scared for this Lester's life. Back it up also that this guy was not even from Ohio. He was from, or I think he lived in California or something, and something happened. His parents died and he got their house, so that's where we were at, his parents' house, which was his because they're not alive anymore. How'd they die? I don't know. I didn't want to ask. And then he started talking about how his brother met his wife off the app, and they really didn't date very long, but they're madly in love, and making it sound like he was really interested in making something work off of here, and I was just like avoiding the subject altogether. And then he was talking about how he bought this like brand new Lexus or some sort of high-end car for like $100,000 and decided to street race it and got into a wreck and then found himself in a coma for a week. So that was a fun topic to talk about. Back to the couch though, we had some conversation. Like I said, those topics were in it. And then he pulled me again. He was like, "You're just gonna have to learn how to cuddle." And I was like, I'll do it. Because I was at that point, you know, when you think of scenarios in your head of like, this person may murder you. In my mind, I'm like, you need to make them feel as normal as possible. So that's what I did, and I don't suggest it, but I cuddled with them as much as I could. I am not a cuddle bug. So we're cuddling, and then he starts making out with my face. Legit my face, like licking it, like slobbering all over me, and it just reminded me of my first kiss story, which that's a whole nother video. And at that point, he was in my ear, like inside of it with his tongue, and I like looked at him like, can you take me home? And then he looked at the clock and he's like, "It's like 9:30. Like, you're not gonna go to bed that soon." I'm like, "I have to like get up really early." I didn't. But I'm a liar when it comes to that. Like, you have to lie sometimes. And he, after me telling him a few more times, which should have brought my car, I could have left right then, he was finally like, I guess. And then he asked me when he could see me next. And I was like, I don't know. I'm like really, like again, I'm pretty busy. Maybe like in a few weeks or so. And I obviously wasn't going to see him again, and I should have been more direct, but again, it was more of that, like, make him feel normal, and you're not going to die. And he was like, "Oh, I was, like, thinking we'd hang out tomorrow." And I was like, "I can't, I work and stuff." I don't remember what my excuse was. And then he was like, "Well, when I like someone, I want to spend as much time as possible with them," and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I haven't been with someone in a while. I don't want to hang out with, even if I liked you, I don't want to hang out with you every single day. Like, you give me some space, just a little bit. I don't want to see your face all the time. Not right now. Again, wasn't really into him, so maybe it would be different if I liked the person, but wasn't the case. And so he dropped the subject, took me to my car, but I had my purse on the stand, and when I went to pick it up, I am not joking, right underneath of it was a how-to for dummies on pistol shooting. And I remember thinking to myself, like looking around, Lester is probably in here somewhere rotting, like upstairs or downstairs. So he takes me home. I drive home. I got a text from him saying like, "I hope you made it home safely. Like, how'd you think of our date?" And I said, I'm not even lying, I was like, "No, the date was like perfectly fine, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm pretty positive Lester's dead in your house somewhere," and like, the last thing I ever said to him. Because I knew I wasn't gonna see him again. And he just didn't respond. I got a call from him the next day, like, he called me at some inconvenient time, and I obviously didn't answer. And the next day after that, because I had already unmatched him, I got a text saying, and I quote, "Have a great life." And that was the end. I never heard from him again. Like, Todd is gone. And I now know, 1, like I said, try to drive yourself. It's the first date. 2, don't go to their house. 3, I don't think I have a third. Point of the story is get to know someone. I usually give myself about a week now of talking to someone. That usually gives them time to show their true colors and how creepy or non-creepy they are. This guy was creepy. I made a mistake. I'm still Tindering though. Like, that did not scare me off of it. I am pretty sure he is going to turn into a serial killer at some point, or he already has been one. is one present. Who knows? I don't. I'm not. Leave me your Tinder stories in the comments below if you have any good ones, or if you have a video of one. I would love to watch it. I have a few more stories. That was probably the worst one. I have an extremely funny dating story, but it was not on Tinder, so if you want to hear that, I'll probably do it on like a Wine Wednesday, because I'm going to start doing those. Oh, that poor boy. He's probably watching now. I actually have a Tinder date tomorrow, so again, not afraid of them anymore. I am a little more cautious, so that's what I suggest for you. If you haven't ever been on a Tinder date, get to know them a little. You'll learn as you go. Like, it's scary the first one, but once you get over that, you're just like, it's still a little nerve-wracking, but it's not as scary. Subscribe below if you haven't already. It's free. I do videos all the time, and I will just see you guys really soon. Bye!